And welcome everybody to this session. It is a pleasure for me to be here sharing this presentation to you. We will address several goals here. The first one will be related to a reflection about our consumption habits, because we need to think about, if we want to solve problems, we need to address the origin of the problems. So this is the first part of this webinar, and it will be a webinar very interactive, because I will be asking you several questions through how the Mentimeter application or another one, and I will share several videos that are part of this webinar. So before starting, we are going to reflect about our consumer habits with an application that is Mentimeter. So you have to write menti.com on the internet, and you will see a code. But before asking for your habit consumptions, I am very curious about from where are you connected. So please, you can write this code 75604238. So many people from many countries. There is a new question. So when you enter to the Menti application with a new code, you will find a new question, and you have to choose the option that best suits on your consumption habits. I'm going to show you the results. Okay, maybe it's the same as yours. I never keep a shopping list when I go shopping, but I buy what I need. We have 12 responses. In my case, it depends. More the first one. I never keep a shopping list when I go shopping, but I buy what I need. But it depends, because when I'm going to shop anything with my kids, sometimes I buy more than I need, because my kids ask for something, some products that they want to buy for fun, or for enjoy eating that. So it depends. So when it comes to the food products, you choose honestly the options that best suit your consumption habit. Most of you used to buy fresh products and cook them at home. This and more healthy is a healthier option, and this is a more sustainable option. But I understand the time that we have or not for cooking at home. About an estimation about the amount of waste that we think that we produce every day, not in our home, by person, or well, you can think in your home, and you have to write the number of grams that you think that you are producing every day. Goes from 100 to 1000 and the bigger the number is, the more times that option was chosen. For example, maybe there are two people that choose 400. This is the reason that, because you will see 400 bigger than the rest. Okay, so this is your idea about what are you producing every day. The next question is, say whether you agree or disagree with the following statements. Okay, we have 11 responses, 12. There are most of you are agree to most of the waste we generate daily degrades in less than 1 year. And the waste generation rate is balanced by recycling waste in waste treatment plants. And you are disagreeing more or less with many people don't realize that when we throw a bag of rubbish in the bin, carbon dioxide emissions are released into the atmosphere. Okay. And the waste generation rate has remained stable since the end of the Industrial Revolution. Is in the middle of 1 and 5 points. Okay. Did you know that in the 50 last year, it has been generated more waste than during the whole history until the 70s? This is crazy. In the last 50 years, we have generated more waste than in the complete history of the humanity. The world generates a little bit more than 2 billion tons of solid waste annually, and at least the 33% is not managed in a good way. For me, this is crazy because in the 50 last years, we have been producing more waste than in the whole completely history of the humanity. And the projected global waste generation is not getting better because it's increasing. Can you see here that for the 2050, we will be reaching more than 3 billion of, close to 3.5 billion tons of waste. And this is a video that I'm going to share because for me, Félix Rodríguez de la Fuente, it was a naturalist that we had in Spain. It was very famous in the 70s and the 80s because he did many documentaries about nature, and it was very famous here. And he died in an accident of helicopter at the end or at the beginning of the 90s. And he was an inspiration for many of us, in my case, for studying biology. And he was a visionary because there is a video of in the year 72, in 1972, and you will see the video is translated for you in English, and you will see what he was saying more than 50 years ago.
Pero ciertamente, lo que más nos diferencia de todas las otras épocas, de todas las otras culturas, lo que más preocupa y lo que verdaderamente más puede transformar radicalmente la posición de la humanidad en el presente es la basura. Basura no solamente en forma de coches viejos que se hacinan y se amontonan en los cementerios. Basura no solamente en forma de bolsas de plásticos y de esos famosos envases sin retorno que van a llenar España y el mundo entero. Basura en forma de venenos disueltos en la propia sangre de los seres vivos que se van acumulando en nuestras vísceras. Basura en forma de toda clase de sustancias químicas sin las cuales ya no podemos vivir, incluido el alcohol y otros estimulantes. No cabe la menor duda de que la nuestra puede muy bien llamarse la civilización de la basura. Buenas tardes, señores.
The civilization of waste, the civilization of garbage, more than 50 years ago. So we have to think about what factors do you think that is causing this problem, because you have to think that we have been producing more waste in the 50 past years than in the rest of the humanity history. So I'm going to ask you, what do you think about the origin of this problem? What do you think that is the factors that can be causing this problem? The pollution of the world population is one of the key factors, joined to the justifications that you did. That, for example, here we can see that from the 70s to the 2020 year, we we start from 3.7 billion people to close to 8. Now we are more than 8 billion people on the planet. So in 50 years, we double the population. And if we join that data with our habit consumptions, that because we buy a lot of things, and the product that we buy is with a lot of envelopes of plastics and cardboard and something like that. So this is the reason why we are producing a lot of garbage every day. And also join to our habits of consumption, because probably we buy more things that we need. It's crazy. This is a common shopping center, and you can see that the shopping centers don't have windows in order to lose the time that you are spending on that source of shops. And now you don't need to visit the shopping centers, because from where you are sitting, you can order anything by using a platform, and you can send that product everywhere, the place that you decide. I can order a product from here, and I can send to Caterina that product from Alicante to your city, from my chair here, using my mobile phone, for example. So this is, we have to think about, you will see here the SDG number 12, responsible consumption and production, because this is very related to this SDG. And according to Europe, the European Union, the municipal waste is the 27 of the total waste generated in the European Union. So close to the 30% of the waste that is generated in the European Union is our waste, the waste that we produce in our homes. Here we are for 447 million people in the European Union, and the average of waste per person and day is 1.5 kilos, not 100 grams or not 1,000 grams, is 1,500 grams per person is the media, the average here in Europe. And is this is I cannot say this amount of this huge number in English, but you can see written here at the screen. This is the metric tons that we produce per year in Europe. I cannot imagine such huge amount of waste, and I need to use an example. Maybe you know the stadium of the Real Madrid, the football team. This is huge, the stadium, and the amount of waste that is produced in Europe is, the stadium has a height of 58 meters, is huge, this stadium, and we will fill to the roof 582 stadiums, like the stadium of the Real Madrid, that the Santiago Bernabéu stadium. This is like if we fill the island of Ibiza of garbage. This is crazy. And this is the amount of waste that we are producing every year in Europe. And this is aligned with the SDG number 14 and 15, life below water and life on land. But we have more reflections about our waste that we produce every day. Because, for example, the things that we buy are producing using natural resources that we need to use to produce all the products that we buy. Everything we use is made of something, even the package that we don't have to keep in our homes, because when we buy a product, the first thing that we throw to the bin is the package. But the package has been made from natural resources. So we are going to reflect on our waste. We are going to reflect about what type of waste do we generate, how long do we use them, and what materials are we need to make them, and how long does it take for them for disappear in the nature. We don't do anything with them. So we have several examples here. A cardboard box, we can think in the box of a pizza, because when we order a pizza, the pizza used to come to our homes in a cardboard box. A soda can, a juice brick, a battery, a glass jar, a marker, and a mask. And if we think about the materials that we need for manufacturing all those products, are a lot. For example, for a cardboard box, we need many things: wood that comes from trees, chemicals as chlorine and starch, water, lots of energy. In the case of the soda can, we need steel, aluminium, steam, coal, water, and lots of energy. A juice brick, aluminium, paper, plastic, energy. A battery, heavy metals. Mercury, cadmium, zinc, lead, nickel, lithium, manganese oxide, sulfuric acid, and energy. In the case of a glass jar, sand, sosa carbonate, calis, water, lots and lots of energy because we need to melt all those materials in order to transform in glass. In the case of a marker, plastic, ink, felt, and some toxics, as xylene, toluene, acetone, butanol, propyl alcohol. And in the case of a mask that we used a lot during the pandemic, 3 types of plastics: polypropylene, polyethylene, and terephthalate. We can use a marker for 1 year, more or less, or 1 year and a half. It depends of the use. A mask, this kind of mask, only 4 hours, because you know that those kind of masks are made for use only for 4 hours, because if you use a FFP2 mask, you can use that mask for 8 hours, but this kind of mask only 4. And this is the amount of time that they take to degrade if we don't do anything with those kind of waste. For example, in the case of the pizza box, 5 years. In the case of a soda can, 10 years. In the case of a juice brick, 30 years. In the case of a battery, 1,000. In the case of a mask, 400 years. In the case of a marker, between 500 and 1,000 years. And in the case of glass jar, 4,000 years. This is an eternity for us. And in the case of a battery, 1,000 years. And most of those products or that waste is polluting also the soil. For example, in the case of the battery, it is very dangerous for the environment, and also in the case of the marker. And in the case of the glass jar, it can produce a fire at the forest, the glass. So we have to think about the daily waste that we produce. And this is another example, a plastic bottle. Maybe we will use a plastic bottle for hours. It depends of the volume of the plastic water. But if you use a plastic water of 500 milliliters, Maybe you will use that bottle for 30 minutes. It depends of your if you are thirsty or not. And the resources that we need to produce that bottle are a lot. Petroleum, carbon, hydrogen, polyethylene, terephthalate, energy, phosphorus, a lot of products. And it takes 100 years to degrade. And it is dangerous also for the environment, because you know that the plastic degrades into microplastics because of the action of the UV rays and the time, and also the movement of the waves in the ocean. And also, for example, we can find microplastics in personal hygiene products, and the fibers that are releasing from our clothes in the washing machine. Our clothes, if they have plastic in the fibers, that fibers release from our clothes and go to the sea at the end of their way. So those microplastics have an impact also in the animals and in the plants of the environment. And microplastics are everywhere, are in the oceans, are in the air, and it has been founded in our several parts of our body, for example, in our lungs, in the stomach and intestines, and in the tonsils also. In the bloodstream, we have microplastics, and in the 100% of the human placenta analyzed. I don't know if you knew those data, but it is crazy. We have plastic everywhere. And according to the global waste problem, this is the global waste composition, and we can see the plastic is the 44% of the composition of the waste, the global waste. And sorry, no, it's not the 44, it's the 12%. Sorry for the mistake, it's the 12%. And 8.3 billion metric tons of plastics are produced. And this is the management that we have of the plastic on the plastic that we produce. Less than 10% is recycled. And close to 80% is accumulated in natural environments. And the 12% is incinerated. And I think that incinerating the plastic is not a good way for treat the plastic, because you know that when we incinerate something, when we burn something, that product release a lot of gases to the atmosphere, and some of them are toxic. So this is the prediction, and in the year 2050, we will find 34 billion metric tons of plastic, and 12 billion metric tons will be spread in the environment. This is the prediction for the 2050. And now, the year 2025, we can find 1 ton of plastics for every 3 tons of fish in the sea, but in 25 years, we will find more plastic than fish. And this is crazy. So we have to think about the way that is produced the product that we used to buy. Because I don't know if you know about the linear economy, how it works. For example, the linear economy is an economy that is based on the resource extraction from the nature. We take natural resources. We produce the products that we need to produce in the factories with the natural resources that we took from the nature. We distribute those products to the shops. We buy those products and consume those products at home. And at the end of their lives, we discard the product on the bin. So we take, make, and waste as if we have an infinite resources and infinite regenerative capacity of the earth to produce again natural resources. And this is not true because the planet has limits. This is a graphic and you can see that I'm going to use this. This is in this part, you can see the number of Earths, the number of planets, Earth planets that we have. And this is in this line, the years from the 60s to close to the 2020, okay, 218. And we can see that before the 70s, we were taking less resources, the natural resources that the earth is able to produce. Number one is the limit, is the resources that the earth is able to produce every year to offer us again to the next year to take them. So if we take more resources that the earth is able to produce, we will be extracting more resources and we will have a problem with the resources that we can take because the earth has a limit of resources. So before the 70s, we were taking less resources that the earth is able to produce again to offer us every year. But from the 70s to our days, we are taking more and more and more natural resources that the earth is able to regenerate again for us every year. So this is not sustainable. This year, we are taking close to 2 planets Earth every year, and this is crazy. Those are the planetary boundaries, and you can see here the evolution. In 2009, from 7 boundaries assessed, we crossed 3. This part is the safe operating zone, and if we cross that zone, we are crossing that boundary, and we will be making something bad with the earth. In this case, in the 2009, we crossed the climate change boundary and the biosphere integrity, and also the biogeochemical flows of nitrogen. In 2015, we crossed a new one, four boundaries, the land system change. And in 2023, from 9 boundaries, we crossed 6. So we are taking lots of natural resources that the earth is not able to produce again to us for taking again every year. So we are crossing every boundary that we described. What do you think about that? Did you know that information? Katerina says no, with her head, no. So this is very important to take into account. according to the weight that we are producing and consuming. And this is aligned with the SDG number 12, the production and sustainable production and consumption. So we have to rethink another model of producing and consuming. In this case, we have to make a cycle, not to make a line. It is better if we change a line for a cycle. If we take the raw materials from the natural, from the environment, and we think in a sustainable design, and we produce the product in another way. After that, we distribute the product, we consume that product, but we can, before discard the product to the bin, we can reuse the product, repair the product, because maybe the product can have more than one life. And when we cannot do anything else with the product because we can reuse the product or repair the product because it's broken and it is not possible to repair again, now it's time to discard the product in a bin, but in a proper bin. We have to collect the product separately because probably we can do something with the product, because if we do that, maybe that waste can be reused again as a raw material. So our waste can be transformed in a raw material to produce again new products. So this is another way to think. I'm going to share you a video that I have on the internet, so I'm going to change again my screen.
Few billion years, and will be around for many more. In the living world, there's no landfill. Instead, materials flow. One species' waste is another's food, energy is provided by the sun, things grow, then die, and nutrients return to the soil safely. And it works. Yet as humans, we've adopted a linear approach. We take, we make, and we dispose. A new phone comes out, so we ditch the old one. Our washing machine packs up, so we buy another. Each time we do this, we're eating into a finite supply of resources and often producing toxic waste. It simply can't work long term. So what can? If we accept that the living world's cyclical model works, can we change our way of thinking so that we too operate a circular economy? Let's start with the biological cycle. How can our waste build capital rather than reduce it? By rethinking and redesigning products and components, and the packaging they come in, we can create safe and compostable materials that help grow more stuff. As they say in the movies, no resources have been lost in the making of this material. So what about the washing machines, mobile phones, fridges? We know they don't biodegrade. Here, we're talking about another sort of rethink, a way to cycle valuable metals, polymers, and alloys so they maintain their quality and continue to be useful beyond the shelf life of individual products. What if the goods of today became the resources of tomorrow? It makes commercial sense. Instead of the throw away and replace culture we've become used to, we'd adopt a return and renew one, where products and components are designed to be disassembled and regenerated. One solution may be to rethink the way we view ownership. What if we never actually owned our technologies? We simply licensed them from the manufacturers. Now, let's put these two cycles together. Imagine if we could design products to come back to their makers, their technical materials being reused and their biological parts increasing agricultural value. And imagine that these products are made and transported using renewable energy. Here we have a model that builds prosperity long term. And the good news is, There are already companies out there who are beginning to adopt this way of working. But the circular economy isn't about one manufacturer changing one product. It's about all the interconnecting companies that form our infrastructure and economy coming together. It's about energy. It's about rethinking the operating system itself. We have a fantastic opportunity to open new perspectives and new horizons. Instead of remaining trapped in the frustrations of the present, with creativity and innovation, we really can rethink and redesign our future.
It's another way to rethink the way that we produce and we consume the products. So the circular economy model says less from raw material, less waste, fewer emissions. So now we know about, we have made some reflections of our waste and our way of consumption, and we have to think about how can we to become our responsible consumers. So what we can do for reduce the amount of waste that we produce is, for example, the first thing that we need to address is reducing the waste that we generate, because we can choose the best option for generating less waste. For example, this is one option that we have. You can think about the question that I did I made you in the Mentimeter. And for example, this is an option that we can choose in a supermarket, or all the vegetables are enveloped using plastic, but maybe we can choose another option. We can buy fresh vegetables, and those vegetables are not wrapped and are with any kind of package. So choosing that option, we will reduce the amount of waste that we produce. For example, this is an example that we can find here in several supermarkets here in Spain. If you want to buy a cupcake, you will find a big bag with lots of um, cupcakes here. And imagine that you only want to eat one. So you have to open the envelope of plastic, and you will find another lots of little envelopes with the cakes inside. So, and at the end you will find a paper. So you are producing a lot of waste if you want to eat this. So maybe you can buy in a bakery directly, instead of buying in this option in a supermarket. Or if you want um, to put something to eat to your kids for the school, maybe this is a healthier option, and you will be producing less waste. And for example, the waste that is producing with a banana is degrading in a few days, and we can get new organic materials for our plants, for example. Or we can reduce by using more environmentally and friendly and reusable packaging. Maybe this is not a good way of use, because maybe you are thinking about the cup. The cup is made for cardboard. Why is not a good way or a good option? Because you can use that cup only one time, once, and you are producing waste. So if you take, for example, different kind of envelopes for your sandwich, or a different cup that you can use more than one time, it is a better option. Although that cup is made for cardboard, because at the end is a waste. Or you can use reusable bags when you go shopping, and you can buy in bulk as much as possible using reusable bags. And other thing that you can do is reuse your waste, because sometimes when people see waste, other people see a resource. In this case, this is a video, and this is a video that I recorded in my home. This is a plastic bottle of water, a big one of 6 liters, and inside there is a brick of milk. And I use those kind of waste for making a growing plant. The plastic bottle is cut, and you can open an extreme of the plastic bottle, and inside there is the brick with I plant seeds of pepper. And because the plastic bottle is making us microclimate and is warming the seeds, and they can grow faster. So it is very useful if you like plants, you can use those kind of waste to reuse and make your own. For example, this is for the detergent that we use for the laundry, and I made a sprinkler for my plants. For example, when it's coming the Christmas in Spain, we used to build this kind of this is a representation of we call Belén. This is the Christ nativity scene at the school. So the school asked my family to do the Herod's castle, and this is very difficult. So I choose an option to look into my bin, and I take resources from my bin as bricks or cards, boxes of biscuits, and at the end, painting. We made the hero's castle. So you can use your waste to build new products that you can reuse again, or you can recycle. This is the third R: reduce, reuse, and recycle. So you can separate in the proper way the waste that you are producing and to throw away in the correct bin. Okay, but we have this kind of bins here in Spain. For sure, you will have lots of bins in your country. And it is very important because, for example, in Spain, the gray bin is for the waste that you cannot separate. So, for example, the green one is for glass, the blue is for paper, the yellow is for envelopes of plastic and metal and bricks. The orange one is for oil, because the oil is a very dangerous waste for the environment. And the brown is for organic waste, and this white is for medicines that we can dispose in the pharmacies. And we have a truck that is every day is in a square or a street of our city, and is collecting waste as batteries or pans, or for example a mixer of the kitchen that you can throw away there. And it is very important because, for example, in the gray container, we have to discard the waste that we cannot put in the rest of the bins. And some people throw away in this bin the waste mixed with envelopes and cans and glass. And in Spain, is only possible to recover the less than the 30% of the waste that is mixed. So it is very important to separate properly the waste, because if not, we cannot do anything with the waste that is mixed. Only with the 30%, we can to take the 30% of the plastic envelopes and cans. The rest is not possible here. But when we talk about recycle, maybe we are thinking on to separate the waste and throw in to the proper container, but this is not the real meaning of recycle, because recycling something is to transform a waste into another new product or into another new material. This is the real meaning of recycling, because when we throw, for example, the paper in the proper container, that container goes to a plant of recycling, and that plant uh, make new paper from the paper that is used. So this is recycling something. So I'm going to show you a real example of recycling at home that I do, because I make soap using used oil. And the best waste is the waste that is never generated. This is the best waste that we can produce, the waste that is never produced. So, Katerina, if you think that is a good idea, we can make a break before continuing. The time that the break is up to you. 10, 15 minutes. 10 minutes is okay, or
it's a great idea to have a break, but time just it's up to you. It's you.
it's for the audience, because maybe or you can make questions. Ivona is asking what smell is for home. Oh, it's delicious. It's natural soap. The smell is natural, but you can add some perfumes to the soap. What I do, for example, I didn't tell you that I do more things with the oil, because sometimes the oil I collect. I have here a bottle of oil that a companion of me here at the university, a professor brings me some oil because he knows that I produce soap, and I have here a bottle of with dirty oil here. Okay, this is dirty, and probably the smell is not very good. So what I do is I clean the oil using water in a pan, and I put double of water than the oil that I have, and I add to the mixture, for example, the peel of an orange or a lemon or some herbs that I have in my garden. And those herbs smells very well, or for example cinnamon if you want, and you have to warm this mixture, but not boil, because if not, the oil is not going to smell very well. So you mix, warming the mixture, and after that I separate the oil from the water, because you know that the oil is not mixturing with the water, because they have different density and the oil is not able to mixture with the water. So I separate the oil to the water, and I take only the oil, and the oil smells very well. And if you don't do that, don't be afraid, because at the end, the oil, the soap is not going to smell bad, because you are adding caustic soda, and the caustic soda is very strong. When you are adding the caustic soda and you mix the mixture, you will you will become aware that the smell is like the Marcilla soap. It's very similar. And at the end of the process, before putting the mixture into the molds, you can add some drops of perfume, and you can perfume your soap. I do that because I make also cosmetic soap with a different kind of oil. Not use oil. I use cocoa oil, almond oil, olive oil, but it's not used. And I produce also cosmetic soap. And I add some color to the soap, and it smells very, very nice. So the smell is very, very good. More questions? No? Maybe
Thanks
we
a lot
can.
for answer.
Oh, you're very welcome. If you don't mind, we can make a break of probably 10 minutes. We can see here again. We can come back in at 11:45. Okay, I will be connected, but I'm going to switch off my camera and my microphone, and 10 minutes later I will be here. Okay, so see you in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So we addressed the first part of this webinar, and now with all this problems that we have with the waste across the planet, the reflection about our habit consumption, the waste that we produce, what we can do for reduce the amount of waste that we produce, reduce, reuse, and recycle. I'm going to show you what we did and what we are doing here at the Faculty of Education with the future teachers, the undergraduates, because I teach at the Faculty of Education, the future primary teachers, and what we did with them at the faculty, because all those problems for us is an inexcusable starting point for education for sustainable development, addressing the sustainable development goals. So I'm going to show you an example of an innovative methodology of challenge-based learning to learn education for sustainable development with reservist teachers here at the faculty. And the drawing that you can see here with the turtle is because this is part of a project that we addressed with a high school center that they develop the Marsense plastic. Is in Valencian. We have here another language apart from the Spanish, and the translation is seas without plastic. Seas without plastic. So we collaborate with the center. This is the Victoria Kent High School Institute in Elche. It's a village that is very near from Alicante. And I'm going to show you what we did and what we are doing. We choose a subject that is related to the education for health, responsible consumption, and care for the environment. We teach that subject to undergraduate school teachers, and that subject has three big blocks. It's divided in three blocks. The first one is education for responsible consumption. The second one is environmental education, and the third one is health education. And we decided to address the three blocks under a service learning project. And the service learning project is connected to the. We wanted to address these three blocks, and we wanted to learn sustainable consumption, environmental education, and health education by the studying the plastic bottle cycle. And this project has several goals that we want to achieve. The first one is that our students learn about sustainable consumption and environmental education and health education throughout the life, the plastic bottle life cycle, addressing the sustainable development goals. We wanted also that our students to become aware about the problems that the planet has related to the plastic and the waste that we produce, and we wanted that they change their attitudes, because it's not only learning to have more knowledge, but also for changing attitudes, because this issue is related to, if we don't do things to improve our environment and social conditions, we will be learning for nothing. So we want to change attitudes also. And at the end of the project, we want to do a service for our community. And I will present after what was the service for our community according to this project. This project has several stages also. And the first one is to become aware about the environmental problems that produce the plastic waste. The second one, we transformed this project as a research project, because we made them some questions that will guide the research. For example, this is the question: what is the life cycle of plastic, and what are its environmental and health consequences? The third stage is an stage of information search, because they have to search information related to the question that we arose, and you will see after a couple of slides that from this big question arose little questions that they want to address in order to solve the problem, the big question that we did. The fourth stage is after they have the information search, they will have their results, and they have to share their results with the rest of the classmates, the communication of their research results. After that, it's time for proposals for action and service. They decide what they want to do according to the project that we are carrying out. They have to publicize the project with the rest of the university community and the citizens. And at the end, we will do the service to the community. So we have 7 stages that we have to address to achieve the 3 goals that we propose. For addressing the first stage, to become aware about the environmental problems, our students watched several documentaries. I'm going to share with you 2 of the 3 because are very short, documentary. The Lemon documentary is very short, and A History of Plastic, our plastic tale. And I'm going to show you those documentaries. They are very, very short. Plastics in nature never have a good final. We do at the beginning of this project is to watch several documentaries, and the third one is Plastic Earth. This is a frame of this. This is a documentary that you can find in Netflix, I think. And after watching those documentaries, a debate is created in the class, because the students need to talk about the scenes that we watched, because they have to become aware about the problem of the plastic in the nature. And if you want to develop a project with your students, it is very important that your students make the problem as their problem. Because if you don't feel that is also your problem, you won't be engaged in the project. So it is very important to dedicate the time that is needed to our students feel that that problem is also their problem. After this stage, we propose them a research, and we ask them about this question: what is the life cycle of plastic, and what are its environmental and health consequences? Because remember that we want to address the 3 blocks that we address in the subject. The first block is the sustainable consumption. The second one is environmental education, and the third one is health education. So we want to address throughout the life cycle of a plastic bottle the 3 blocks. So we dedicate one session of 2 hours with our students because they need to make new questions that arose from this question, because they have to answer new questions to address, to solve the problems that are that come from the life cycle of a plastic bottle. For example, one of the questions that the students thought was, what is the life cycle of plastics? Is it sustainable? And with this question, they are addressing 4 of the 17 SDGs. For example, clean water and sanitation, climate action, life below water, and life on land, for example. Other question is, how does plastic get onto beaches and into the oceans? Because we have to address also the impact that the plastic has in different ecosystems, in beaches and into the oceans. Other question that they decided to address was, what happens to the plastic when it reaches to the sea? Does it disappear or not? Other question that those questions are questions that they thought, and we order like a big tree with branches of research. This is another question: how does litter on beaches, seas impact on living things? Oh, sorry. Also, the impact of microplastics on food chains and human health. What are environmentally unsustainable eating habits and practices, and how does this relate to unhealthy eating? Because according to the question that I did you in Mentimeter, for example, if you choose the food that is processed and you need only to warm it up at the microwave, this is less healthy than if you cook your own food with fresh products, and also it has more impact into the environment because of the package of the food that you are buying. So when we the consumption habits according to the way as we eat also have an impact on the environment. So we have to think in both ways, in the way of how can we can eat more healthy, and also if this way of this option is less damage for our has a less damage in our environment, so it's connected. Another question was, how can the consumption of local products contribute to regional development, waste reduction, and carbon footprint reduction? Because if we consume local products, we are helping to our regional development, and also we will need to transport less amount of distance the products, so the carbon footprint will be less. So it is a very good option to consume local products. And we are addressing lots of SDGs with this question. For example, the first one, no poverty, zero hunger, clean water and sanitation, decent work and economical growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reducing inequalities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, and life on land. We are addressing lots of SDGs with this question. With the previous question, we are addressing also good health and well-being, because if we are thinking in a good way of nutrition, we are thinking also we are addressing the SDG number 3. Another question is related to reuse the waste, the circular economy, the beginning of the circular economy. Can we reuse our waste, reuse and recycling our waste? And we are addressing lots of SDGs also with this question. And how can the circular economy contribute to reducing waste in the environment? So with this question, we are addressing lots of SDGs. And we are visibilizing the SDGs in our classroom, because the students, I'm sure that you are at your classes, you are addressing lots of SDGs, but some people don't know that they are addressing SDGs, and it is very important to visibilize the SDGs, to show others that we are addressing the SDGs. We are working with the SDGs at our classes, in our classes. So those were the question that my students wanted to address, and they organized it in small groups of 4 or 5 people, and each group addressed one question, one of the questions. They have 16 hours of work, 8 sessions of 2 hours to search the information. They visited organizations, enterprises, and I remember that one of the groups made an interview to a person that was working in Indonesia, developing a solution for cleaning the ocean. And they did an interview with Google Meet, and they record the interview and show the rest of the interview. It was very, very interesting. So after this process of information search, I can show you here, for example, one of the groups visited fishermen because they wanted to address the problem of the nets of fishing with the seas. And they discovered that there is in Alicante, there is a plan, there is an enterprise that take the nets of fishermen, and they build furniture for the city, recycling the nets. and it was amazing. And they visited enterprises where they manufactured plastic bags, and this is an enterprise that they use plastic bottles for build orthopedic materials for medical resources, and it was very, very interesting. After this phase is the longest stage of the project, because they have to dedicate lots of hours to get all the data for the information. They had to communicate to the rest of the class the results that they got, and they developed several. They have to build a product as a video for show others the results that they got, and it was very, very interesting because I will show you in a couple of slides that they project their videos in the museum of the University of Alicante in the International Days of the Day of the Museum. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples of the products of our students.
Basura. Es reciclable, pero con dificultad, y se reutiliza mayoritariamente en papeleras. A continuación, el tipo 5. Polipropileno. Este tipo se encuentra en pañales, envases de yogur, tuppers. Es difícilmente reciclable, aunque se suele reutilizar en rastrillos o rascadores. En el tipo 6, el poliestireno. Es común en
The video shows the different kinds of plastic and what are used them. For example, the polypropylene or the propylene for the industry. For what is using those kinds of plastics. It's very, very interesting.
Vasos de café, bandeja.
El bisfenol A es un componente químico y orgánico utilizado durante su procesamiento.
It is very interesting.
El BPA puede liberarse de los productos que lo contienen y entrar en el...
So it was a video very, very interesting about the different kind of plastic that we can find and for what are they used. For example, this is another...
El cuerpo humano a través de la ingestación, la inhalación o absorción de la piel.
BPA in our health.
¿Y sabes por qué pasa esto? Esto es debido a que...
And this is another example. And this is related to alternatives, sustainable alternatives in class, because they are going to become teachers at the school and they have to find alternatives to the plastic.
Y de esta manera facilitar al docente la puesta en práctica de ellas. La primera alternativa que planteamos es comprar papel reciclado para darle una segunda vida a este material y programar las impresoras para que solo imprima a doble cara. De esta manera contribuimos al ahorro de energía y recursos. Como segunda alternativa relacionada a la anterior, podrían fabricarse libretas de papel usado anteriormente. Como podemos observar, tiene unos pasos sencillos, donde se debe trocear el papel usado, triturarlo y unirlo en un bastidor. Una vez seco, se podrá perforar y encuadernar para formar nuevas libretas. La tercera alternativa es muy importante en educación infantil y se trata de la creación de un mercadillo sostenible.
Following step was to think about what we can do for doing service for the community. So it was time for proposals, and our students proposed to clean a beach here in Alicante. And it not was easy because we have permission for the government of our city for cleaning a beach. You cannot go to a beach and clean the beach because you can do that, but with a few number of bags of waste. But in our case, we found close to 250 kilos of waste, and you have to coordinate that cleaning with the government because the government sent us trucks to collect the bags that we collect in we clean derivated to the cleaning in the beach. We were collecting big plastics and also microplastics with the nets that we take. It was a mattress on the beach. It was crazy. We were weighing the waste. And we separate the waste in using colors for separating in a proper way. This is the truck. It was the service to the community, and it is very important that you tell others what you are doing, because when you are carrying out a service learning project, it is very important to publicize the project. In this case, we call to the newspapers, and we have several interviews with the newspapers of our local newspapers.
De la metodología de aprendizaje de la asignatura de tercer curso Educación para el Desarrollo Personal, Social y Medioambiental, que se emplea para trabajar la educación para la salud, el consumo responsable y el medio ambiente. Una actividad que es también una extensión del proyecto Mars Sense Plastic, con el que la Universidad de Alicante colabora desde hace 2 años.
Nosotros tenemos una asignatura que va enfocada a la educación para el consumo responsable, la educación ambiental y la educación para la salud, y este proyecto es un eje que vertebra todos los contenidos de esta asignatura. Entonces, este entorno del mar Mediterráneo es en el que es nuestro hilo conductor de la asignatura para aprender todos los contenidos que van relacionados con una ciudadanía enfocada a la sostenibilidad acorde con los objetivos del desarrollo sostenible.
Hemos encontrado en esta playa desde libros, teclados de ordenadores, neumáticos, estructuras de sombrillas, en fin. Infinidad de cosas. Es preocupante la gran cantidad de microresiduos, microplásticos que están ocultos por la arena y que si no nos dedicamos a sacarlos y a incorporarlos al proceso de recuperación y a tratarlos más o menos de manera adecuada, pues van a acabar en el fondo de nuestros océanos, como la gran cantidad de residuos que se acumulan.
Desde UTE intentamos un poco apoyarles. ¿Qué hacemos? Pues les damos bolsas, materiales, como habéis visto a lo mejor los tedazos para cribar la arena, o lo que hacemos luego también cuando acaban la recogida, pues un camión de la empresa viene a recoger todas las bolsas y las pesan, para que ellos también sepan lo que han recogido.
Con motivo del Día Mundial.
This is one of the videos, and we have another space in the local TV. I'm going to show you.
Yo creo que después vienen unos planos en los que se ven estas imágenes. Ahí estáis seleccionando, ¿no? Lo que serían separando el plástico, el papel y todo. Y hay un momento en el que veo como una especie de telefonillo un poco raro, ¿no? Ahora no sé si lo veremos ahí, pero claro, ¿quién va con un teléfono y lo tira ahí en la playa? ¿O es que se le ha caído a alguien? Yo quiero pensar que se le ha caído a alguien, ¿eh? Porque no tiene ningún sentido que vayas y lo tires ahí. El mar no disuelve las cosas.
No, además...
ahí
bueno,
ves, ahí lo tenemos,
sí,
el libro, ese sería el libro, ¿no? Del que hablamos, y al lado, no es un telefonillo.
Es una especie de calculadora.
Calculadora.
Sí, y también encontramos un teléfono móvil. Quizá pueden ser pérdidas.
Esto que estamos viendo en pantalla, eso sí que lo aportáis vosotros, que es como para limpiar.
Esos son los tamices, coladores para la arena, sobre todo.
Y las
azadas,
azadas,
que también un poco
es el material que aportáis desde la UTE para que la gente tenga más... para que sea más fácil limpiar, igual que las bolsas que tenemos aquí. Se les ve a los chavales muy motivados, Asunción.
Lo estaban, sí. Lo estaban. Además, están esperando cuánta basura cogimos, quieren los datos. Y bueno, ya no solamente que vayan motivados, sino lo importante también es que están implicando a su entorno, a las familias, a sus convivientes, a sus parejas. Están concienciándoles porque día a día nos traen mensajes al aula de, bueno, yo no separaba este residuo, pero ahora lo estoy empezando a separar, ahora sé cómo hacer otras cosas. Entonces es una tarea muy
Claro, es que
importante.
yendo al sitio, limpiando y descubriendo que, por ejemplo, hay ¿cuántos palillos de chupachus encontrasteis? Un montón.
Cientos.
Claro, ahora ya te piensas en, bueno, me voy a la playa y el palillo creo que me lo voy a poner en el bolsillo y me lo devuelvo, porque es plástico que le cuesta muchísimo deshacerse.
Claro, Rubén, además es que hay papeleras. O sea, justamente en la salida de la playa hay 5 papeleras.
Well, this is an example of how to spread the message. It is very important to tell others what you are doing, because if we want to achieve the SDGs, this is related with the SDG number 17, partnerships for the goals. If you engage to the rest, your relatives and the citizens, well, they become aware about the problem that we have with plastic, and they can do something to reduce the problem. So this is a part very important in the project, publicizing the project. Our students did also, they wanted to show the problem, and we use a Padlet, and they took several photos that they cleaned the beach to show others the problem, and they share in the social media the Padlet with the rest, and it was very, very interesting. And also we participate in the Museum of the University of Alicante in the International Day of the Museum, and we developed several activities to children that visited the museum and the activities were related to the plastic and the ocean and the beaches and the damage that produce the plastic on the environment. And we project also the videos that our students did in the project. Those are some examples of activities that we did at the exhibition. And for example, we take leaves and algae of the beach, and we use all those natural things with calamari ink to create nice pictures of scenes of the environment. All those pictures were made by kids. This is part of the students that participate in the International Day of the Museums. And we have to assess all this project with our students, because we have to ensure that our students are addressing and achieving the knowledge that we want, that they have to achieve. And also remember that the second goal was to change their attitudes, because it's learning for action, it's learning for solving problems and changing things that are going in a wrong way. So we use an assessment rubric because when they have to expose the results of their research to others, we have to ensure that they are doing the work in a proper way. So in this rubric, we ensure if the group justify properly the topic, if they have contextualized the work properly, and additional comments, if they have presented the goals of the work. At the end of the work, if they have addressed the goals that they raised, because sometimes our students make a list of goals and they don't address each goal that they propose, and we have to ensure that each goal has been addressed in their research. If they present their research results in a clear way, is there anything that could be changed about how they have present the results to expand the information or present them more straightforwardly, related to the conclusions, if they have conclusions, if the conclusions have been presented in line with the results that they got, and if they link the research with the SDGs, with how many, and if it can be linked with others that they didn't think, if they address innovative aspects and the quality of the work. Of course, we are addressing all these aspects. And we pass them a pretest and post-test questionnaire, and we, according to their attitudes, and most of them increase the awareness about the problem of plastics and waste, and they take responsibilities on them. So the conclusion of the project are that our students achieve a deep learning about health, education, and social and environmental sustainability. The project changed their attitudes. They carried out a service for the waste problem cleaning a beach of our city, and they have raised awareness of the plastic problem among other people. This is my presentation, my part of my presentation of the what we did with our students. I don't know if you have questions related to the project, and if we have time, we have enough time, I have an activity, and I'm going to propose an activity, and you can think about what you can do in one of the subjects that you teach, related to this presentation, that you can transfer one or two activities, or you can develop a project in this way, integrating the SDGs using the service learning methodology, or you can choose another one, but it is very interesting to address the SDGs. A task for you is this. Maybe you can think for you. You can think about activities that you can transform at class, integrating the SDGs in a transversal way. It doesn't matter if you teach science or if you teach humanities, because maybe if you teach humanities, maybe you can relate a problem that you know that exists in the society, and how you can address the SDGs, addressing inequalities, addressing justice, addressing something, because for sure you are working with the SDGs, and sometimes I found that there are some teachers that they don't know that they are addressing SDGs at class. So the only thing that you have to do is to think about what you are doing in your classes, and if you can transform some activity in order to visibilize more the SDGs that you are addressing, because this is the way that your students become aware that you are addressing real problems, no matter if the problems are related to technology, to health, to clean water, to justice, inequalities, or environments, or climate change. It doesn't matter, because the 17 SDGs address problems related to science and social science. So no matter the subject that you teach, but for sure you will find a way to integrate the SDGs in a way that your students become aware that they are learning for solving problems.